Emotions. We know it all. But if I were to ask you, where are emotions produced in the body, what would you say? In our society, we have a completely different way of dealing with emotions. And that's why we don't experience orgasms. Would you agree that all of us want to have good and amazing and nourishing sex? So, when we all want to have that, both male and female, in a relationship, then what is it that stops us? Our body is such a unique and amazing being. It was created to experience pleasure, not pain. We don't need external things to get that happiness. But in order for happiness to happen, we have to get rid of the pain. We have to get rid of the muscle tensions. If I were to ask you, what are few things necessary to experience an orgasm, what would you say? Some of the clients, they felt that after the session, they felt so much sexual arousal. They called while on the way to her home, she's calling her lover and saying, I want to have sex. And she hasn't had sex for like months and months.
Let's bring him on stage and hear what he has to say about orgasms. Michael Charman, round of applause. Woo!
Thank you. Orgasms are fun. They are healthy. They improve health. They increase happiness. Rejuvenates our well-being. And we should be having more of them. Good evening, everyone. Have you enjoyed so far? Have you learned something? Okay, then give me a whoop whoop. If you haven't learned anything, give me a whoop whoop. Who is excited to learn about orgasms? Raise your hand if you're familiar with different kinds of emotions. Anger, happiness, grief. And raise your hand if you have experienced an orgasm or you know what it feels like to experience in your body. See, some ladies are laughing. That's also an orgasm. It's an involuntary state that we go in. My name is Michael Charming. I am orgasm and relationship coach, an award-winning international speaker, a certified emotional detox body worker, and author of Amplify Your Orgasm. Emotions. We know it all. But if I were to ask you, where are emotions produced in the body, what would you say? Why is it important to recognize the emotions, embrace them, acknowledge them, and release them to become multi-orgasmic? Emotions are produced in the limbic system of our brain. Emotions are more of physiological than psychological. The psychological significance depends on the meaning we give it to them, depending on our experiences, depending on our behavior. An emotion is made up of 3 things. How many things? How many of you have heard emotion is energy in motion? First thing, energy. In order to produce an emotion in our body, the brain cells need energy. Movement. When that energy is produced, it signals our muscles and organs to react. And feelings, which is the mental associations that originate in the neocortical parts of our brain. In our society, we have a completely different way of dealing with emotions. And that's why we don't experience orgasms. What do we do in our society? We suppress the emotions. The only emotion that's allowed is happiness. Why? When all of these emotions are existing in our body, should we not be actually allowing each of them to actually happen? Think of the time in your relationship when you felt sad, when you felt angry, when you felt fearful, but your partner didn't allow you to express that. What happened? They started getting stored in our cellular memory. How many of you resonate with that? Over a period of time, what happens then? We start disconnecting from our own body. We start disconnecting from our partner. And as a result, sex dies out. Would you agree that all of us want to have good and amazing and nourishing sex? So, when we all want to have that, both male and female, in a relationship, then what is it that stops us? Even though we might be the most educated people in that relationship. So, our body, when it's using the energy, it produces something called the metabolic acids. It's a waste that gets produced. And our body has a mechanism to deal with it, which is it eliminates those acids through different channels: urination, perspiration, respiration, and defecation. However, the negative emotions produces a wide range of those acids. So should we actually not allow those emotions to actually be expressed a lot more, so that acids can actually come out of our body? But because we don't allow it, then what happens is those acids start getting deposited in our tissue, in our connective tissues. As a result, we start having illnesses, obesity, diseases. It's simply because of this. How do we release emotions? There are many ways to release it. The first way is, of course, when it comes, we express it, we feel it. And that requires a lot more understanding of both the partners. The second way is you actually feel into your body. Where is it arising? Our body is such a unique and amazing being. It was created to experience pleasure, not pain. Pain is a part of the journey, but we live so much in that pain rather than pleasure. So when we feel into our body and we shake it, the emotions get released automatically. This is what the animals do in the jungle. Animals are living in constant fear in every single moment. But the only way they live healthily is because they shake their body. Now, if you want to go out and shake your body, people are going to think mad. So I'll leave it up to you. But that's also one of the ways. The third way is emotional detox through body work, which is what I do in terms of session. So emotional detox, just like the name suggests, is detoxing your emotions. Imagine we have been experiencing a lot of emotion throughout our life, hurt, pain, right from our childhood, disappointments, upset. Now, Sam talked earlier about the vessel, the divine vessel. Jane and Caroline talked about happiness. We can be happy. We don't need external things to get that happiness. But in order for happiness to happen, we have to get rid of the pain. We have to get rid of the muscle tensions. How many of you have actually had you went through a massage and you felt so nice and so relaxed? Why is that? Because what's happening is those muscles, those tensions which have been built up in the body is actually getting removed. Now, massage doesn't go that deep enough to release the emotions, which is where this emotional detox work comes in. So what is emotional detox session? It's basically between 3 to 4 hour session. And the client is completely closed on. We work on identifying where the emotions are stored in a body. If I were to ask you, what are a few things necessary to experience an orgasm, what would you say? Few things that are necessary to experience orgasms. Someone might say trust, good communication with your partner, stimulation, relaxation. See, one of the biggest things that we need to experience an orgasm is the blood. Because it's the blood that makes the arousal. You know what the blood is made up of? Red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and plasma. Plasma contains minerals, nutrients, electrolytes, and a lot of other proteins. How many of you have experienced or felt that there's an orgasm that's electric? Do you know why? Because of these electrolytes. So if our body is this vessel, and we are creating a lot of tension in the muscles, in the nerves, what happens? The blood doesn't flow through. Hard and fast sex. How does that feel in your body? Which is a very sensitive area down there. Men doesn't know that it's not the hard and fast sex that makes women an orgasm. So, ETBD, what we do is we find out the places in the body where there's blockages, and then we help in clearing it. ETDB sessions consist of consultation to find out where you are, because every person is different. Everybody's sexual energy, sexual life journey has been different. We don't even know what we are carrying. We might be carrying abuse right from our childhood. You know, sometimes you might have experienced maybe your partner is not making noises, even though her body might be trembling and enjoying the pleasure. Why is that? Because something might have happened in the past where she's not allowed to express those emotions. So in this session, we identify all of that and helping it clear out. We do breath work. Breath work is very important. Sound, body work, and all of that basically is involved in ETDB. There's something more. This is for people who are very adventurous, which is the body de-armoring session, and that includes the person who is completely naked. But we're not going to talk about that today. Some of the benefits of ETDB sessions is some of my clients, this is what they have experienced in the past: stress, tension, fear of sex, inability to let go. You know, women find it very difficult to let go of what they're feeling. Body shame, PMS, and difficulty in experiencing orgasms. So after the ETDB sessions, all of that have actually gone off. Why? Because we're working on this body, we're working on this vessel. There is no hard, fast scientific formula. Again, this work is something that's collaborative. It's not something I do. I only create a space. I use the tools and techniques. It's working in conjunction with the client. What does the client say?
Experience working with Michael has been so amazing. Just look at my face. Very, very, very good. After the session, I felt my body completely clean, like new, and I just saw myself completely in another world, in an amazing mood.
When I first heard about the emotional detox, I needed some time to find out about what it was and what it involved, and once I'd found that out, I was a complete yes. Since the session, I feel like there's been an opening, like my heart and my love for myself has been more free and less blocked. So I feel like where the session brought up the negative emotions or the anger, I feel like that was a clearing, and it's allowed a softer, more gentle space for me to love and approve of myself. I feel like Michael's sensitivity during the session and before and after the session really has been really thoughtful and soft and given in a way that allowed me to better connect with some of the more tender spots that I struggled with.
After a few days of the session, I feel like I'm much more sensitive. I'm more aware about my emotions. I'm also more aware about my body, and that was something I really didn't think that could happen, because I'm not the kind of person that look at herself and just have positive thoughts, and that actually surprised me because it started to happen. Even if it is small things, for me is already a big thing, like looking at myself and having bigger autoesteem and thinking, you are actually beautiful, and thinking that changes can happen, and they are happening already.
I experienced a true trust, deep connection during the session, which was a new discovery for me, because some new body sensation and sixth sensation I discovered. For example, seeing colors, seeing emotions like in a shape or on a regular basis. And in the same time, I could observe my feelings without judgment, labeling, and I could be honest with my own self without any shame or limitation.
I would say that I felt calmer, more serene. I felt more capable of being able to do some of the things that I really like to do. And in fact, since the session was only 2 or 3 days ago, I've actually achieved quite a lot in those few days. And the other thing that the session embodied for me really was there was a certain feeling that I could take away with me, that I could actually do things, instead of procrastinating or putting them off. I was impelled to just get on with some of my projects. Yeah, I feel that more is possible. There's a kind of consensus that I didn't realise I was buying into, which was as you get older, you get weaker, tireder and iller. I think since the session, I really saw the possibility of that not being the case.
As a result of the session, very immediately, I felt very, very tired and slept, and it was a very healing sleep. And then over the course of the subsequent 2 days, I've immediately felt lighter, clearer. I felt cleaner, very, very good, very calm, very centered, very grounded. My life has changed since the session in as much as I feel very centered and very grounded. I feel clearer. I feel lighter in myself and a sense of assurity about myself.
Some of the clients, they felt that after the session, they felt so much sexual arousal. They called while on the way to her home, she's calling her lover and saying, I want to have sex. And she hasn't had sex for like months and months. One of my clients, she had the best, amazing sleep throughout her whole life. She has never experienced that kind of deep and intense sleep. Women also have this assumption of they carry a lot of baggage because of maybe past. I don't believe there's a baggage, but it's their belief. So some of these sessions have helped her to release and get rid of that baggage. Another psychotherapist, one of my clients, she felt integrated at all levels, emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, all levels. It's not just physical. So that's basically about it. Emotional detox is very important to experience orgasms and multi-orgasms. Orgasms are fun. Would you agree? We should be having more of that and not less. We should have a very healthy sexual relationship with our own sexuality, not something that we should be dismissing, not something that we should be discarding. Anyways, that's me, Michael Charming. I've got my book, Amplify Your Orgasm, where I'll be sharing a lot more details about it, how both women and men can become multi-orgasmic. Thank you.